I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Alberta, Canada becoming the 51st state. I don't think it's going to happen, but I was asked about what, if it did happen, what would happen to the people incarcerated in Alberta. So I did a little study, looked up a few things. I think altogether Alberta has 23,000 people incarcerated. Now some of those prisons they have are province prisons, that's what they call them. And that means anybody that got 2 years or less goes to those. Anything more than that, they go to federal. So if it was to become a 51st state, all that would change. You know, they have the different custody levels, you know, kind of like Missouri's got. I mean, it's different in different states, but Missouri's got 5. 1 and 2's being the lowest, and you know, 5 being maximum security prison, 3 and 4 is in between. The whole time I was incarcerated, I was only in 4s and 5s until the last year I was in prison, and then they sent me to they dropped my custody level to 1 and sent me to a low-level prison. So I imagine it would be set up something like that, but I can't see it becoming the 51st state. Maybe getting independence, but if that's what they want, I wish them all the best in that. But I think next year they're supposed to have a vote on it or something, like in May or March, and they'll decide whether they want to remain part of Canada or not. Apparently they don't like the way the Canadian government is treating them. It's like, to use their words, they give the Canadian government a whole bunch and they don't get a whole lot back. But let's say they voted for independence and they break away from Canada. They just can't join the United States. They just can't say, hey, we want to become a 51st state, and it happens overnight. The United States has to decide on that too. And I think it's a long process. It's got to go through Congress and everything. There's all kinds of... Get over it, bug. There's all kinds of things going on. But I do not think, from what I've read, I could be wrong, I do not think those incarcerated would like being part of the United States if they have a system set up kind of like we had in the United States, which, you know, probably will be. Because the federal prison in the United States is different than in Canada. I mean, the way they said it is 2 years or more, you go to a federal prison. You know, and in the United States, it's based on your crime, whether you commit a federal crime or not. And sometimes you can commit both state and federal crime at the same time. The 2 years or more, or 2 years or less, and you go to a province prison, no, because they're going to have the custody level thing going on. And you know, every state has its own laws, but there's also things that's kind of in line. All the laws are in line with one another, and many things are set up different. Now, the politics of the prison may stay the same, they're kind of the same, but I don't even know about that, you know. And prisons change over time, so this would be a big change. So I imagine it'll be changing pretty fast, you know. But I've seen the way Missouri's prisons are change, and I also seen how people who did time changed. You ain't got hardly any of those old school convicts anymore. So I don't know. I can only speculate how it would be once if they did become a 51st state, but I do not see it happening. And if it does happen, it's not going to be for several years. That's my guess. I think if it does happen, here's how it's going to happen. Alberta's going to become independent, and it'll be independent for a while, and then they may ask for to become part of the 51st state, and probably because they're landlocked, they'll be surrounded by Canada and the United States. And then it's got to go through Congress and everything else and finally get agreed upon. And then once it becomes a state, it's going to have to change, and I don't think those changes will be overnight either. I mean, a lot of it probably will be, but a lot of other changes will be slower. But I was looking at Alberta, and I was looking at the map of North America, and I would say that Alberta is about 3.5 times bigger than Missouri, and they got less people incarcerated. That's crazy to me. You know, you think it would be more, but then again, there's a lot of open spaces and ranches and stuff. This guy said that Alberta is like Texas. I don't think it is. I mean, maybe in the fact that it's got ranches and cowboys and it's got oil and things like that, but I think that's the only similarities between it. I don't see where he's getting that Alberta's like Canada. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but the only thing I see similar is the cattle, you know, the ranches and stuff, and the oil. And so I don't know. That's all I got for you guys. I hope if you leave a comment, man. See what you got. Tell me what you guys think. And if there's any Canadians, I'd definitely like to hear what you have to say about this, because this was just brought to my attention, and I find it kind of interesting. So, guys, tell me what you think, and if you think Alberta should be, if it votes for independence, if it should stay independent, become a 51st state. Just tell me your thoughts. And I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.